welcome to our second neighborhood chat here with the administration of York City. And this morning we're going to talk mostly about economics here in the city of York, but we also have various members of our team. Some of them deal directly with economics, some with other things around the city. So how about I start on the end with our Director of Public Work, Chaz Green.
How are you doing? My name is Chaz Green. I'm the Acting Director of Public Works for the City of York. I've been here a year and a half. Some of the departments that I oversee is the Parks and Recreation Department, Highway Bureau, Electrical Building Maintenance, Wastewater Treatment Plant, and been here a year and a half, so enjoying it so far.
Just keep going.
Sure, Mr. Dowry.
Good morning. My name is Michael Dowry. I serve as the Business Administrator for the City of York, the privilege to serve under Mayor Helfrich. My department consists of human resources, information technology, and finance. We also support the Parking Bureau and WRCT, our TV station. Primarily, our role is to provide back office support for the operational areas.
Good morning. My name is Shavosky Buffalo. I have the privilege of serving as the Interim Director of Economic and Community Development, which consists of 4 bureaus: health, housing, permits, planning, and zoning, which my able-bodied colleague, Mr. Steve Buffington, will elaborate on momentarily, and economic development with a little smattering of RDA. The mayor will elaborate a little bit more about restructuring of this particular wheelhouse and how it may look going forward. But again, 12 or 13 years of service, started as a able-bodied intern and worked my way up through the rank and file to where I am today.
Thank you. Mr. Buffington.
Good morning. I'm Steve Buffington. I'm the Deputy Director of Permits, Planning, and Zoning. Been with the city, seems like forever. I think Dave's probably the only guy here longer than me. But our bureau does the enforcement of the property maintenance code. We issue permits, new business packets. Zoning officer and the planner are both under my bureau.
Great. We're also joined by our Deputy Treasurer, Carol Downs-Brady. Would you like to say anything about the Treasurer's office?
As the mayor told you, I'm Carol Downs-Brady. I'm the Deputy Treasurer of the city, and if we field any kind of questions or problems with property taxes.
Very good. And we also have with us our events coordinator, Mary Yapel, and she's got a lot to say, I think, about all sorts of activities. So we'll start with some really fun stuff over here. All sorts of activities that are coming up in the city that not only are fun, but also support our economic development.
Hi, I'm Mary Yapel. I coordinate 6 events on behalf of the City of York. The first one is our Box Lunch Review concert series, which is starting next Tuesday. And this year, I'm happy to say, the month of May, we've added concerts on Wednesdays. The timing was right with so many Central Market vendors open on Wednesdays, and the schools needed some additional dates to choose a date. I have schedules. I have postcards on Box Lunch Review. I have information on Old York Street Fair, York Fest Bike Night. We'll have Light Up York on New Year's Eve. And I also have information about our Give Local York initiative that we're participating in with 200 nonprofits on May 4th. And all of these events are free and open to the public thanks to booth fees and generous sponsors and private donations. So no city tax dollars.
Wonderful. And good point at the end there. Thank you. Yes, again, I want to reiterate that our events around the city are supported by incredibly generous donors, and we couldn't do this without the support of businesses both in the city and outside the city, and individuals who donate to our efforts. So thank you out there to all of you. And also, I know 10 o'clock in the morning, possibly not the perfect time for everybody to get in here to City Hall, but I think we're on live on Facebook. Is that right? Yep, I'm getting a head nod over there. So you can message us with any questions. You can just comment in there, and those questions will get to us, and we'll be happy to answer them. So I want to start off with the broad picture of the city. I think over the last few years we've had great opportunities to try and, well, actually to improve our economic conditions. And thank you, Mr. Dowry, for your work on that. But we also have to be realistic about where not only our city, but almost every third-class city in the state is going. And that is the big issue. And it's, I want to be clear, it's not that people don't deserve to have benefits, But these benefits, if you're paying health insurance, you know how much health insurance has been going up year after year after year. And then we also provide a good pension for our full-time workers here at the city. And there's a little chart that Mr. Dowry, it's very little, sorry, I should have made a big copy of this, but I keep this sitting in my office. I don't know if you can see it out there, but you'll see that in the 4th year of my administration, we are going to see a $3 million increase in our pension obligations. Currently, and Mr. Dowry, correct me if I'm wrong, we don't have a I want to say we've got plans on how to get that money, but there's nothing solid right now about how to come up with that $3 million. Is that an accurate statement?
Absolutely, it's an accurate statement. I just would say that there are some solid alternatives. It's just I don't want people to panic and think that there are
Well, I don't want
options.
people to panic, but I also want people to understand that this is serious, and this is the most serious thing that I believe the city faces right now. We do. I mean, I'm not. I don't want to say that it's more important than the unfortunate crime that we have in the city, but this is something that is staring us in the face, and we know it's coming, and we've got 3 years to figure out what to do about it. The obvious answer in the past would be to increase property taxes. Well, this administration recognizes that increasing property taxes is a death nail in the city. We already have low property values because of the high taxes. We already have trouble getting more businesses to come into the city because of the high taxes. So this is not something that is even on the list of things, list of options. The other thing that has been done in other communities and has been done not long ago is increasing the income taxes for both residents and commuters. That's not something we want to do. We also know that hurts businesses and that hurts individuals. We don't want to do those things. So what are we going to do? For over a year, I have been working with individuals and businesses around the city and nonprofit organizations to come up with a plan, a very strong plan for economic development. We've had some good growth in the city. People can see, nice amenities downtown. But to come up with $3 million cash for our general fund, we need to increase the value of the city by $150 million. And let me say that I know that this is a very high goal. And in my experience, there are two types of people that set goals, or two types of goals. Folks that set goals that they know they can reach, and they reach them and they're happy. And there are those that set goals very, very high, and they just keep working and keep working, even if they're not sure if they're going to get to that goal. And I'll tell you, I'm that second kind of person. And so while people can say, and I've heard this from past administrations and from others that said, we can't build our way out of our problems, we have to count on Harrisburg. I say that we've been saying that for a long time, and Harrisburg hasn't come through for us yet. They've come through in, let me put it this way, they haven't changed the tax structure to help us. They haven't changed the pension structure. They've come through for us. We've got great projects that have occurred because of help from Harrisburg. We get great grants from Harrisburg that help with our health bureau and all sorts of things. But this big issue, this pension obligation, we need to work ourselves and hope that others help us. We can't count on others helping us. That's not a plan. So we have developed a three-tiered strategy to economic development that we're pushing forward, and that strategy, if you look at it from 30,000 feet, from 10,000 feet, and then down on the ground. We'll start with down on the ground. We have an excellent organization that has been working in our downtown area, and most of you can see and acknowledge the great improvements in downtown. That's Downtown Inc. partially funded by city dollars, and then partially funded by donations, other philanthropists. They are working closely with us, as they have in the past, but even more so now, to they've taken on the task of helping business owners maintain their businesses, so get more training out there. A lot of folks that start businesses have dreams, and they want to put that dream out there, and that's wonderful. I mean, entrepreneurs and dreamers, that's what makes America. But that doesn't always mean that you have all the skills on the back end when the IRS comes knocking, when you have to figure out how to pay the employment taxes, or even work with Mr. Buffington on codes and zoning and things like that. So our Downtown Inc. organization is going to be working on business retention programs, and they're going to be working on, if a business does move out of the city, they're going to be working on filling those spaces. Here's the key thing. Not only in downtown, but we are working on a contract right now to expand Downtown Inc.'s influence to the Market Street corridor. So going the whole way out west and the whole way out east. This does a couple of things that are very important to me. Number one, it spreads our prosperity to neighborhoods that might not have the prosperity that we're seeing in downtown. And number two, it diversifies the types of businesses that are being assisted by Downtown Inc. And I mean types of businesses, and I also do mean races and ethnicities. There is no doubt that the downtown businesses are predominantly white, and at least the ownership. And that doesn't mean that everybody's not welcome, but it's a fact. And the other fact is that we have lots of great businesses owned by African Americans and Latinos that are on the East and West Market Street sides, and we want to make sure that they're getting the same kind of assistance and the same ability to prosper. So Downtown Inc. is going to be working with us and kind of spreading their area. Not officially, we're not expanding the business district or anything like that, but we are looking at a contract where they can give the same kind of assistance to those businesses as they give to those in the downtown area. Next is the 10,000 foot, so that's on the ground. At the 10,000 foot level, we are looking at signing a contract with the York County Economic Alliance. And this is something that has been discussed for many, many years. The city of York has seen prosperity. The interest in economic development in the city has grown. However, our ability to resource our economic development department has not grown. We cannot keep hiring folks. We can't hire additional folks. I showed you. I'll keep putting it up here. I can't do it. We can't do it. We can't keep hiring full-time people and increasing that pension and healthcare obligation. So we have an excellent alternative that not only adds one or two individuals to our economic development team, but there's an option where we can add 24 people for basically the price of two, of moving two positions over to the Economic Alliance. And that's what we're looking at right now. What this will do, currently we have two staff members. As I said, we have two staff members that are trying to be and have been trying to be everything to everybody all the time. Trying to answer the email, work to get funding packages through, work to get zoning through, and codes, and just the good news is that they're overwhelmed. The bad news is that they're overwhelmed. So this will give us the opportunity to formalize what is already a relationship. I mean, the Economic Alliance does work with us to some extent, but this would give us not only two professionals that are working specifically for the city of York, but it would also give us 24 professionals that are experts in their specific fields. So we don't have somebody that is trying to be everything to everybody all the time. If you need a funding package, you go to the expert in funding. If you need to understand zoning and opportunities for building, you go to that person. Marketing, they have a whole team over there. So I'm very excited about the potential relationship with the York County Economic Alliance that will vastly expand our ability to work with people that are interested in investing in the city of York. Finally, at the 30,000-foot level, and some of you, I know I'm repeating myself, but I'm not sure that this has all been laid out in this fashion, so I want to make sure that you're all hearing it kind of in one nice, neat package with a bow on the top. At the 30,000-foot level, we need to remind ourselves of who we were. York was a manufacturing capital of the world. Not just the city, not just the country, of the world. We had people in York starting, we'll go back to Phineas Davis, back to the 1830s, that had ideas. And while that particular company, unfortunately, he died very young in a train accident after he invented a locomotive, he took an idea and expanded on it. Many of you know of Farquhar Park. I don't know how many of you know who A.B. Farquhar was, but A.B. Farquhar was a young Quaker guy who had family roots in York City, and he came and he started working in a little machine shop over across from St. John's Episcopal on Beaver Street, and that shop burnt down to the ground. And the creditors were going to take them, get what money they could out of him. He said, no, wait a minute. Give me a chance to rebuild and start something new. And he started the Pennsylvania Agricultural Works that turned into A.B. Farquhar Enterprises, which was a worldwide company. It had offices in South America, all over the world. Those that know me know that I'm a history guy, so I can go on and on about all these great people that started with little ideas. One single ice-making machine in 1877 turned into York Manufacturing, turned into York International, a global corporation. In 1917, they sold half of the ice machines in the entire world. These folks made wealth. They took ideas, they turned them into money, and that money spread through the community. There's a reason why York has some of the most beautiful architecture and the most interesting architecture around. It's because people had wealth and they invested it into their homes. They invested it into their surroundings. They gave us Farquhar Park. They gave us amenities to be shared with all of us. And that is our goal. Our goal is to get back to this place where York is prosperous for all of its citizens, that we have blue-collar jobs, that you can use your hands to make things. We've got tech jobs. We've got accounting jobs. There's room for everybody's skills. Just to kind of, again, put a bow on it, for those that don't know, in the late 1930s, folks here in York saw that there was a big war coming. And even though a lot of people didn't know whether we were going to get involved in it or not, they said, we've got to be prepared for this unfortunate opportunity. It was a great manufacturing opportunity. And the leaders of York got together and they created something called the York Plan. And the York Plan motto was, do what you can with what you have. So these folks got together and they said, what machines do we all have? What resources do we have? How can we turn a company that makes safes and locks into a company that makes tripods for machine guns? How can we take a company that makes something else and turn it into a piece of something? They knew at that time that not all of them, there was nobody that could just manufacture tanks. There was nobody that could just manufacture what was needed in the war, but they knew that each of them could manufacture a part of it. When the war actually started in 1941, the York Plan was the only, and Roosevelt was asked, what are we going to do to ramp up for World War II? They had no plan, but they had the York Plan. And the York Plan, this idea of sharing tools, of sharing resources, of forgetting politics, of forgetting any of your differences and working together, That plan was spread all around the country, from Rotary Club to Rotary Club, and York saved the world. The York Plan is what, we had the fighting guys. When General Devers of York came back from the war, one of the first things he did is he sought out the folks that had created and moved forward the York Plan, and he said, "You saved us." He didn't say that just the guys on the front line saved us. York saved the world. But honestly, after that time period, in 50s and 60s, we've seen a serious decline in that kind of thinking, in that kind of start with what you have, do what you can with what you have. And I know it may seem I'm going a long way around here to get to it, but there is a point. And the point is that at the 30,000-foot level, we're bringing in someone called an ecosystem builder. And the ecosystem builder's job is to assess all of the assets, not only in York City, but in York County and even south central Pennsylvania. Because when we work with Lancaster and we work with Harrisburg, we are as great as Pittsburgh. We are as great as any large city in the country. And we have a benefit, that is that our community still has 20% of its workforce in manufacturing. Most communities aren't manufacturing anymore. And while there was a trend for all manufacturing to kind of go overseas, that trend is reversing, and we want to be at the front of that. So, but it takes more than just being able to do things with your hands. You also have to be able to do the things that are needed now, and those things have changed. We need tech. We need tech to come in and work with our existing manufacturers. And that's going to be the job of the ecosystem builder. He is going to assess all the values, all the manufacturing, what's our workforce look like, and then say, what pieces are missing? What do we need to bring in to really push us and set us at the front lines for what the economists are calling the fourth industrial revolution? The fourth industrial revolution is the use of artificial intelligence, of robotics, of the Internet of Things, where now you can do everything off of your phone. 10 years ago, I don't think any of us imagined all the things, or 10, 15 years ago, any of us would have imagined all the things that you can do from your pocket. That's called the Internet of Things, being able to turn your lights on and off when you're not even in the state, being able to, to control all these things around you just from your phone. These technologies are changing and are going to change the world, and we have an opportunity to be at the front of this. Not only do we have an opportunity, but we have an obligation to be at the front of this. We have an obligation with zeros and dollar signs. We have an obligation. We have to improve our economy here in the city and in the county and in south central Pennsylvania. And this three-tiered approach of working locally to help businesses on the ground, working at the 10,000-foot level to bring new businesses in and make sure that we're getting everything that they need as they come in, just out of a little bit of recruiting, but also kind of catching the random interest that comes in. But then having a plan, a strategy of recruiting specific industries that we need here. This is our economic development plan. There are many smaller portions of it, making it easier to do business in the city. I'll just mention one. We recently made an agreement where for new businesses coming in, we're not going to be requiring 2 inspections to get the certificate of occupancy. We are going to allow the certificate of occupancy to be given right after the first inspection. That's going to save 1, 2, 4 weeks in some cases. That's going to save, and every one of those weeks is money. We know that. We speak business here. And we know that time is money, and every time that we hold up a company from opening their doors, we're costing them money. Well, we're doing everything we can now to make what seem like kind of small changes, but they're very, very important changes that are going to improve the ability of folks to do business in our city. So with that, I will take a breath and open up an opportunity for questions. I know there's some more that we can say, but I did want to kind of take a pause and give folks a chance to ask questions. Or else you have to listen to me some more. Yes, sir. Can you come up? I'm not sure. Is the mic on?
Yep.
Great.
Name's Barry Ness, Pennsylvania Avenue, York. Got a couple different things here. The old Ostrom Light Company, Phillips, whatever it was, out there on Roosevelt Avenue. I see there's a new plastics company moved into or leased that area out there.
Yes, I believe so.
That was what, roughly about a month or two ago. Should make mention of that, that's there. It seems like you get a new company moving into someplace real quick here from a company that's been closed down, and you make no mention of it, guys. Talking about them guys. Just I don't know how many jobs, but they're promoting. They have a sign out that says we need help, and you are correct about a lot of the industrial parts that are still here yet. 20%, that's a lot. But you need also the people in the industries themselves to look past the dollars and cents of how many employees they have to make these machines work. You can't have 2 employees running 20 machines, even though you got IT and all that kind of crap. It still takes this and this. You can't, if you don't have this going along with this to the boss, he has no idea how to get anything done. So I'm just making a comment there from my work time. I do have some other things I want to go through real quick here. Mr. Green, there's a stoplight out in Pennsylvania Avenue, northeast corner, Med Ed. One of the lights, red
Okay.
lights.
Pennsylvania northeast corner.
Northeast corner, yeah.
Let me just make a comment.
Yeah, I mean-
wait,
I
wait, a stoplight or a street light?
Street light.
Yes.
It's
So-
the actual red light
The
on
red-
that one signal.
Yeah.
The bulb for the red is out.
Okay.
Got it.
This-
Thank you.
We got that all clarified here now. Thank you, guys. One other thing, I got other things. About some of this Narcon stuff that we're doing to people that need the help. Is there a tracking system available to, not for me, but for all the organizations and medical people to see who are repeat recipients of this work, to make sure that we're not getting back into where we're sustaining these people in this habit. So sometimes the goodwill that we're trying to do helps to sustain some of this. So there's got to be some way that we can track whether the police, the fire, the EMT guys, the hospitals, the family members, the insurance people, and the doctors out here, so have some form that they can go to find out if this person had more than 3 doses, more than 5 doses, more than 10 doses. We getting into that point where we need to do that kind
I
of thing.
certainly don't have that information. Do folks in the back of the room have that information?
Well, I'm just asking the normal question here.
we have our health experts in the back of the room, so I'm not sure.
I'm not looking for an answer right now. I'm just saying,
Well, if we have one, do we? Doctor, could you approach the mic so that everybody can hear you? Thank you.
So just to answer your question, to understand repeat folks who are resuscitated with naloxone, one of the challenges with that is it's that information is kind of compartmentalized, and the idea is to protect the individual when it comes to mental health and
fully
substance use
understand.
issues. But we're working with the disaster declaration. We're able to actually crack that open a little bit more. So that started in January. We should have some pretty good data coming to us in the next few months.
What I'm trying to figure out is would this be information that would be used in helpful manners to the city themselves, as well as the state and county,
Right.
so that we're having issues with pensions, health care coverage, and everything else. So are we going to get to somewhere where we're going to be in over our heads here? I mean, there's got to be some way that we can track this to help us out. If you don't have a map to know where you're going to get lost.
Understood.
GPS doesn't do everything, I'll tell you.
You're right.
I mean, I'm just, it's just a point that I wanted to
Right.
ask about.
Yeah, Barry, there is one kind of, and I could see that possibly from the institutional side, there might be some record keeping, but the fact is, I've got it in my car right now, just in case I run across somebody.
Yeah,
You can buy it at the pharmacy. Anybody can buy it at the pharmacy.
I'm
and
just looking at it to the point where the information that the professionals have
yes, I understand.
can be used in a limited manner to help guide you in your future planning in these things. Whereas, from what I'm concerned with right now is that we're getting to that point where, you hear about this patient here has had this resuscitation 3-4 times, sometimes by the professionals, sometimes by the family members. And it gets to the point where it's, 5 or 6 times now? We don't know. So,
But using that individual requires a different level of interaction and
Understandable.
engagement. And that's where you get a little wiser about how you use your resources. So hopefully, by gaining some of that extra information and be able to put it in the right hands, we can help that person even better than we would otherwise.
I'm just trying to look for a method that might be helpful to the city, county,
Absolutely.
state. And I know looks like you're on that right now, so we're getting somewhere with that.
We'll try. All right,
Okay.
nice to meet you,
Thanks.
Barry.
I do have one other thing I want to bring up.
Feel free.
I'm almost as bad as you.
Keep talking, Barry. Keep talking.
But this is not quite as fun, though. And this will probably get to Mr. Dowry more so than anything else. I know you probably know what I'm going to ask, I think, maybe. But
I'm making an assumption.
I'd like to know if there's going to be a final report from the police about the investigation of the ice rink charges that were looked into. I'm just trying to find out, with the former employee, not of the cities, but of the rink management people, he was charged with theft of whatever. But I know there's more to it than that, and you possibly know more about it too, about the monies that were taken. I don't have any figures other than what I've been suggested is in the $100,000 range over a number of years. Now, if other cities and towns around here fire people and even take them to court, so why aren't we doing civil charges on the guy, let alone criminal?
Well,
I mean, I know I keep hearing about, in a way, me as a guy that's asking these questions, I'm being stonewalled. I don't like to be stonewalled. You either give me some questions, some answers to this, or we'll have to go somewhere, do something.
okay. Well, I can't give you specifics. I'll be upfront and honest with you about that. It is an
Understand.
ongoing investigation. The district attorney's office is in charge of that, and they'll release a statement when they deem it's the time to do so.
Because of the new administration coming in?
No, it wasn't impacted by that. Well, perhaps a change in district attorney. I'm sorry, I thought you meant changing the mayor, but
No.
I don't know. I can't comment on the status of the district attorney's investigation. And then to your other point, a civil claim, if one is to be pursued, that won't even start until the criminal side is settled. So we're a time away from this issue going away.
Well, I mean, is there a statute of limitations on this?
Not to my knowledge, and I don't think we're in jeopardy
I
of getting
just-
anywhere close to that.
I just know some employees that work out there and they're getting a little annoyed and upset that it's not proceeding fast.
Unfortunately, all I can say is that the investigation continues.
That's,
Yeah. Barry, I received an update back in February.
Yeah.
Again, I can't share it with you, but I
Understandable.
can confirm that there is an analysis, an official and scientific analysis going on about the effects of any actions down there. So,
could there?
I
understand.
mean, there's not really much I can
I
say
understand.
to.
I understand. I'm not trying to ask for anything more than that right now, but
I wish the employees would understand that things are in motion, but things can't be out in the light. Criminal
understand.
investigations can't be out in the light of day. So
Yeah,
if
I
they
mean,
would be, I would ask you to tell them or ask them to be patient.
they like to be talked to by the guy.
I know, I was down there.
No, you didn't talk to all the guys. But in the future, as the new contracts comes up here, if you have a new person bidding on the contracts here and there, or I don't care if it's 2, 3, or whatever, you should maybe stipulate in the contract that there should be a takeover audit by the parties taking it over. Maybe some more insights into what's needed to do a better job out there, to make some more money out there. And don't just have a hockey person in charge out there. You need a person who has overall experience, like the young lady down here, of doing things with the community. I'm just making a suggestion.
Thank you.
Well, I can tell you that the person in charge down there is much more than a hockey expert. I mean, he's owned businesses. He's
He knows how to make money. Okay? He knows how to make money, but not in the endeavor of ICE.
Well, we are, there will be RFP going out for those services
About 2 weeks, I'm told.
this summer, yes.
I'm told about 2 weeks.
Okay. So if you know anybody or
We'll,
you're looking for a new career,
We'll
let
look
us know, Barry.
we'll see if there's a couple LLCs around.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Can we hear from anybody else? Philip, do we got anybody on the line?
We do. We have internet questions.
All right, great.
Chaz, Mr. Green, we'll start with you. Everybody, we received several questions about potholes. It is everybody's favorite topic. So I think any sort of general update you can provide.
We are out daily working on potholes, and we get our list. We're hitting about 7, 8, 9, 10 locations a week. But when we're saying 7, 8, 9, or 10 locations a week, right, it's not actually one pothole each location. We're usually doing 5, 6, 7, of them on the street at a time. So we are getting out there, getting the potholes. But if there are any questions or if there's a pothole they would like to report, they can obviously go through Facebook and get to Philip. But they can also reach out to our Pothole Hotline, which is 717-849-2228. And that is an automated answer machine. Or you can call and get someone live from 7 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. at 849-2320. That is our Highway Bureau, and we're there. So as soon as we get the calls, we usually try to get out there within the next day to take care of it.
Let me take this opportunity to talk a little bit. We have a different strategy that we are working on with the city engineer on paving the roads. In the past, and I will tell you that some people might not like it because it doesn't look neat and fast, but it is the most effective way to pave roads. In the past, what we have done is we've done the overlay paving, made it look really nice, and the black, fresh, new pavement. And however, structurally underneath, we haven't been fixing everything. So I think it was Boundary Avenue that directly after being paved out of Boundary Avenue, potholes started popping up and cracks, and that's not how you actually pave things. Things need to be taken down. Make sure that the base, that any things that are deteriorating in the base are addressed. Let that sit for a while, because when you fix something, if you fix it and pave it right away, you don't know if that fix actually took. So our engineers have advised us that this is the best way. Well, it creates the most durable and long-lasting roads. So instead of having to come back and pave them in short periods of time or constantly chasing potholes around, you're actually fixing the whole road. Now, what this requires is time and patience, but what you get at the end is 10 to 15 years worth of a good solid road, which saves us all money and also is much more satisfactory than having work crews in front of your house every 5 or 6 years trying to fix things up. So we'll talk more about that. We just had this meeting, but I believe it was a good strategy. Our public works director is in agreement, correct? So yeah, you'll hear more about this. And the other thing is, thank you for your patience, and if you weren't patient, I'm sorry. But it's finally almost warm enough that these roads are going to be paved now by the utilities that have been digging them up since last summer. If you did not know, you cannot pave in the wintertime and get any kind of road that lasts. So what happened and why we have so many potholes, particularly in the areas that the utilities were working, was that after they dug, they were putting in something called cold patch, which is something just to get you through the wintertime. But with the crazy spring that we had, going from like 10 degrees to 60 degrees, and then back down to 10 degrees, and then up in the 70s and 80s, and then having rain and late snow with that breaks up all that kind of cold patch, and has left us with more potholes than, I don't know if it's more potholes than normal, but it's certainly way too many potholes. And yes, they're getting calls, and I'm giving them calls and sending them texts every time I find one. So they've had a lot of work to do out there, but now we're going to be getting to the point that the utilities are also going to be doing their curb-to-curb paving. So,
Mayor, to kind of tie into that also, we have a quarterly meeting that we meet with the utility companies, which one will be coming up this week. With that, we'll have an update of when the paving will go out. We'll get that information out in press releases to let the residents know of the city that when the projects are going to begin. Hopefully, we can get an expectation from them when they plan to finish out the projects and when the projects will begin. So we'll get that information out to you as soon as possible. And also, we'll be doing some alley paving projects. Obviously, you see some of our alleys. When you come through them, a lot of them are obviously the worst in our streets. So we're going to go out there and get some work done over the next 2 months now that hot patch is available. And we have some projects. And we went through and we actually assessed our alleys and was able to determine which ones were worse, obviously, throughout the city. So we're going to get working on those as well. So just to let everyone know, just bear with us and we'll get that information out to you through press releases, and Philip will be getting that information out.
Mr. Buffington, probably a question for you. Somebody said that they hadn't heard of QDOT until last week when they had a QDOT inspection. So they just wanted to know, it seems, what services QDOT provides for the city, maybe where we end and where they begin and vice versa. So.
Okay, QDOT Engineering is a third-party agency that the city has contracted with probably for the last 5 years. They began with doing our uniform construction code inspections. They've expanded to now doing our tenant-occupied property licensing inspections for us. They will be also assisting us in the issuance of the certificate of occupancies going forward. As the mayor stated, we've streamlined that process and involved QDOT in that as well. So QDOT's not a new entity in the city. They've been a partner with us for probably 5 years now.
Excellent. Mr. Buffalo, it seems like we have a very hungry person on Facebook. They wondered if you had an update, if you had heard anything on the Fig and Barrel, which is on Market Street, I believe, set to open, and if there's any update on what the Landis brothers were doing in the square.
Well, I'll tackle both in short order. The Fig and Barrel, as I understand it, is doing their own tenant fit-out, and they have an anticipation of probably being ready to open in the third quarter of this year. I would suggest that they haven't already. Either the folks from the Fig and Barrel put some kind of splash or marketing collateral out that will actually denote when they may have their actual grand opening. or if they could potentially just share with us candidly when they may be opening the doors, because I too would like some brick oven pizza. Secondarily, with the Landis brothers, we have not interfered in their due diligence process. They're still investigating whether or not they can make a project actually work at 1 North George Street, formerly Citizens Bank. I hope and I'm optimistic that we'll get an answer from them relatively soon. I believe their option goes through June of this year. So near the end of the second quarter, we'll know whether or not they're a go or a no-go. We're moving forward with that particular project.
Okay. And then Mary, not to put you on the spot, somebody asked what the date for bike night was. So I didn't know if you just wanted to lay out what your schedule was for the rest of the year so everybody knows while you have the opportunity.
This year's bike night will be held on Saturday, September 22nd. It is moving from the traditional Friday night to a Saturday. That change was made at the suggestion of Harley Davidson from feedback they had received. There are some advantages to moving it to Saturday. It will eliminate Friday night gridlock that a lot of people have dealt with over the years. Last year we moved Light Up York from Friday to a Saturday, and it worked really, really well. So Saturday, December 22nd, all of these dates are on our website. If you go to yorkcity.org/annual-events. You will find links. We have a page for each of these events. If you're here today and want to pick up information, we also have a Facebook page, York City Special Events. Happy to answer any information there as well.
Awesome. And I did post the link on the Facebook page for that person too. Anybody else have any questions?
I do see something in my notes that I had skipped over. Mr. Dowry, can you give us any update on the sewer billing?
Always want to skip over that one. The city is still in the process of overhauling the financial management system, and obviously the biggest part of that, that's the public interfacing piece, is the sewer billing. Challenges go back quite some time, and they persist, and we are very well aware of that and continue to apologize profusely to the community. We are still working through those changes, though. There are some promising initiatives on the horizon that should bring a quick resolution to this year, but I don't want to overspeak too early. What I want to say, though, is that please continue to be patient with us. My number or any of us to field a call from you and try to answer your questions as best we can. Get whatever situations resolved. The accounting piece of it is accurate. It's the billing statements themselves haven't always reflected the current payments and the adjustments made from one period to the next. So we are aware of the issues with the statements and are diligently trying to work through them. But again, we appreciate your patience, and feel free to give me a call if you are experiencing any troubles.
I will add, seeing no one else with questions, tonight is opening day for the York Revolution, and our mayor will be throwing out the first pitch, so everybody can come out for that. And then, Chaz, do you want to just talk a little bit about tomorrow's Arbor Day event?
Tomorrow, we'll have an Arbor Day event at Penn Park. Where we'll be working with, we'll have some volunteers from McKinley Elementary School, working with our forester down in the city, Chip Rogers. And we'll be planting some trees along Lindbergh Avenue, right in the corner of Lindbergh and Princess Street. Obviously, if you remember the storm that we had last year, I guess it was actually called a gust NATO, where we took out some trees over in that area, so it'll be good to get some trees replanted back there in that area. So. What time is that? 10 a.m., yes. So we'll begin at 10 a.m., so we will be there. We will have video. We are expecting some rain, so if anything does change, we will definitely get that information out to let people know.
So I guess I'll close up with just a comment, and we did a press conference yesterday on the homicide that we had in the city here, and the shooting, I don't know how to describe it, and both the district attorney's office and police chief tell me I'm not allowed to talk as much as I like to talk about these things, because things that I say can be used later in a court case. So I will just say that there was a very, very sad incident over on Park Place and Park Street. I want to thank the residents in that area for talking with me after the event, and for sticking with us while we try and work through what has to be long-term solutions. We don't, there are very few short-term solutions to this problem. We are working with our group violence initiative, which is we are tracking those that are committing, specifically committing shootings, and those and the group violence initiative. It's a two-prong approach. We try to help people. Actually, is what we're doing. We're trying to get more training. We're trying to get opportunities to people. Getting them jobs. In one case, we helped buy some barbering equipment for a guy, and that guy's doing a great job now. He's off the streets. He's got a good job, paying taxes, taking care of family, doing all the things that we really are, that are really our goals. However, those that choose not to take our hand are going to get the fist. We're working with the U.S. Attorney's offices. People involved in violent crime in the city are getting the maximum sentences that we can get. There's never been, I don't want to say that there's ever been any tolerance for it, but we are doing everything that we can to help people, and if they were not take help, then they are getting the absolute maximum penalties that we can get. I know in some cases, even being caught carrying bullets can get you years if you're not allowed to have stuff like that. So I ask people to work with us. I think that's one of the biggest issues that we have, is that, and I'm trying my best. We're all trying, I think, to help rebuild community and build trust with our police department. If you're out in a neighborhood and your neighborhood is getting shot up, there's only one way that we know of to stop that, and that's for you to help us stop it, to tell us what's going on. So I just plead for folks to put their own thoughts aside, whether you like police or don't like police, whether you like government or don't like government. We need your help to help you, to help your neighborhood. We need you to work with us and give us the information so that we can get people that are shooting without concern for lives. I mean, they're shooting in such ways that, some of you may remember the first homicide we had. There's a guy killed with a baby in his arms. This isn't two guys shooting it out and everybody, in like an isolated space. These are people just spraying neighborhoods. We can't have this, and I don't care how much you like the person or how much they're acting like psychopaths. So we need to get these folks off the street. If they can't live with us, if they're telling us they can't live with us, then we've got to get them away from us. So I beg you again for your help. Call me personally. My number is 717-779-7915. That's my personal number. What's my city number, Philip? 817-7975, I believe. I've usually got both of those phones on me. You can also, for anything, contact us at mayor's office at yorkcity.org, MAYORSOFFICE, at yorkcity.org. And that's not just on the crime stuff. That's on, if you have any further questions, if there was something that you wanted us to talk about today and we didn't, just let us know and we'll get back to you. Anything else, folks? Thank you all for coming and participating, and thank you to my team. Thanks, everybody.